Hello everyone. So I am the bus cleaner at my bus lot, and this is the most challenging project I've gotten delivered to me in recent times. This bus was used at a fair, and it rained, and the fair got a bit muddy. And now this is what I have to clean. Mud on the seats, all over the floor. On the section wall between the seat rail and the floor. I'll hose this out, hand scrub everything, and do an after video to show you how clean this can get after 2 to 3 hours of hard labor. But anyway, I do all the buses every summer. They all get hand scrubbed. Windows, the panel above the windows, all the emergency hatches get cleaned. I find that microfiber rags and World's Best Glass Cleaner work wonders on the glass. I use Hercules hand wipes to get grease off the door. Goof off wipes if I have them, but I haven't been able to find them this year in Home Depot. If there's any sticker residue that has to be removed, Zep makes a great graffiti remover that dissolves the sticker residue very quickly. So I use that for a lot of the stickers I had to remove from above the windows. We don't sticker things in our buses, and this bus came from a different terminal where I guess they allow that, and they had all the grade designations above the windows with numbers and names for the seating assignments, and those stickers all came down, and the residue had to be cleaned. The dashes, I polished the dashes with Pledge and microfiber rags. The microfiber rags are great. It's a great replacement for paper towels. Of course, you're saving paper, which is wonderful. It's better for the environment. They don't leave any lint, and they are really great with pulling dirt out of all the little cracks and crevices. So all these dashes do get polished with Pledge. So anyway, I will do an after video of this bus once I get down and dirty cleaning up all this mud. So this is the first step to doing the floor, is I took the hose after spraying the floor and letting water seep into the dried mud for probably about 20-25 minutes. I take the hose and I blast everything I can out the back door. You got to park the bus on a slight bit of an incline so all the water can flow out the back door. But as you can see, I'm about 2/3 of the way done. All that loose stuff is coming up with the hose. You can see all that I'm getting. All that'll go out the back door. And then what I have to do to get the rest of it, because as you can see, it's not 100%. Just everything I can get with the hose. It's loose. Comes out the back door. But I have to then hand scrub the floor with this brush, sponge. I fill this here bucket with water with some Simple Green, and that seems to get the floor pretty clean. That's the method I've used for years on these buses. There are some people that say the hosing out a bus is terrible, it'll wreck the plywood floor. You got to park the bus on an angle and aim everything out the back door. You don't let it sit with the water so it can soak into the wood. Just get it out the back door and you're fine. I've been doing this for many years. Our last fleet of buses we kept here for 9 years. I did them since they were brand new and there were no floor problems. So if you do it right, hosing is the best way to get all the dirt out of every crevice. So here I am, ready to get to the hand scrubbing portion of this project. I've sprayed out all of the loose mud and debris on the floor. And you just got to be careful when you're spraying. You know, when you come up to the heater like this, you just kind of try to blast everything underneath the heater rather than spraying the water into the heater, because you don't want to wreck the heater motors. Other than that, you park the bus on a slope, water goes out the back, it's not going to wreck a plywood floor. It's a lot cleaner already, because all the loose stuff has been blasted out by the hose. I actually had to go over it twice with the water pressure with the hose, because as water seeps into the mud, more of it gets loosened up. But the rest of this stuff, what I got to do is take this brush over here, see to the right, loosen up any mud that's stuck to the floor, and then wipe it clean with this sponge, which absorbs all the mud and goes back into the bucket. And I'll probably have to change the water a few times during the process of doing this, but the floor should come out pretty perfect once I'm done. And while I'm down there, I do the seat rail there with the sponge and the section of floor, or excuse me, the section of wall from the seat rail down to the floor. And also gets done with the sponge, because when a passenger is sitting in the bus and they look to the right, it should be clean. Same thing with the windows. You know, I hate it when I see windows that are filthy, because that's what the passenger is looking out. And the other thing that I think is important to keep clean is this panel above the windows, because that's at eye level when someone gets on the bus. All this up here has already been done, the windows and the panel above the windows. And as I mentioned before, I like getting the roof hatches nice and clean, as well as the dash, but I did all that before. And the floor is the last thing I do before the start of school. So after a couple hours of scrubbing on my hands and knees with that brush and the sponge, I got it pretty clean. One nice bonus of giving a bus a deep clean is you never know what treasures you might find lurking under or in the seats. This time around, I found a toenail clipper. There's a lot of mud I removed. I had to change the water more often than usual. But it's not often we get a bus this dirty. That was kind of an unusual event. That much mud at the fair. A lot of cars got stuck. And the very last thing I do after the bus is hosed and the floor is cleaned is I take the pledge and I polish down here. Polish the doghouse, polish the heater. If I do this too early on, then when I spray to get the mud off the floor, it all splashes on here, so this has to be done last. And the other thing I do at the end is I use the World's Best Glass Cleaner and a microfiber rag on the interior of the service door, because once again, if you're hosing the steps out, it gets the glass all dirty down below, so it's pointless to clean that glass until the last step. And then at the very end, after I do that, stand on the ground outside, and you get good access to cleaning behind the back seats, so you can get that wall and the floor all the way up to the corner. So everything's nice and clean. And there you have it. Deep cleaning the school bus.